Good morning and welcome to ACP News. Healthcare systems are among the most complex organizations in modern society. They combine medical expertise, management, and coordination to guarantee accessible and high-quality care for citizens. Yet beyond their social mission, these systems often face significant organizational challenges, including tensions of power, communication barriers, and structural limitations that influence how effectively they deliver care. In this video, we explore and compare three national healthcare systems, the UK, France and Italy, through the lens of organizational and management theories. Our aim is to understand the root causes of these challenges and discuss possible ways to improve collaboration, motivation and efficiency. To start our analysis, we move to the United Kingdom, where our journalists will interview a representative from the public and private sector to uncover different perspectives on how the British healthcare system operates and what issues it faces today.
We mentioned, across Europe, healthcare systems balance national control and local autonomy. But in the UK, this tension defies the National Health Service, a publicly funded system increasingly dependent on private providers. In 2022, over 10 billion in NHS services were delivered by private companies. So how does this affect management motivation and performance?
So, the NHS operates in a permanent structural dilemma. According to Mintzberg's structural configurations, it sits between a machine bureaucracy with strict rules and targets and a professional bureaucracy driven by clinical expertise. Centralization ensures equity and consistency, but it constrains hospitals that need local flexibility to innovate or adapt to regional pressures. We see this even more clearly through contingency theory, the idea that structure must fit the environment. After Brexit, the environment changed drastically. Nearly 20% of NHS doctors were trained overseas, yet recruitment from the EU has dropped by almost 90%. Local units can't hire staff fast enough, but financial control remains centralized, leaving hospitals dependent on emergency national funds rather than empowered to act.
That's where public and private logic collide. From the private sector's perspective, the NHS EV centralization limits efficiency and accountability. In the 19th, reforms inspired by scientific management or Taylorism introduced competitive tendering and key performance indicators, a way to find the one best method for delivering care. But this pursuit of efficiency has side effects. Each provider focuses on its own metrics, throughput, cost per patient, rather than system-wide outcome. The result? Fragmentation. Coordination suffers, and efficiency in one part of the system can create inefficiency elsewhere.
And beyond structures, there's the psychological contract, the unwritten agreement between employees and the organization. NHS staff join to serve a public mission, not a market. When private firms profit while NHS hospitals face budget cuts, that contract feels broken. Moral declines, absenteeism rises, and strikes follow, not only for pay, but for a sense of fairness and shared values.
Private management tools can work in healthcare, but only if there's a line with that mission. Competition for efficiency must never replace collaboration for care quality.
So how do we rebuild balance between control and autonomy?
Well, firstly, we restore a shared purpose that unites all providers, whether public or private. Everyone should operate under one mission: accessible, equitable care for every citizen.
Second, redefine performance indicators. Measure continuity of care, patient satisfaction, and staff well-being, not only financial efficiency.
And finally, also, invest in learning, partnership instead of pure outsourcing, where public and private teams share knowledge rather than compete. That's how we preserve innovation, while protecting the NHS core values.
In the end, the British healthcare dilemma isn't just about who runs the system, but how they work together. Finding balance between central coordination and local empowerment may be the key to the new NHS future. And now, let us move on the French healthcare system.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
L'assurance maladie, once a symbol of solidarity, now faces a profound human challenge. In hospitals, burnout affects 60% of physicians and half of nurses, an epidemic of fatigue that seriously worries specialists.
This isn't just a staffing problem. It's a breach of the psychological contract. Professionals lost their faith in the system. They dedicated their time and loyalty, they expect respect and recognition in return, while today it seems to not be the case.
By psychological contract, you mean the contract that isn't written, but deeply felt?
Exactly. Professionals entered public service with a sense of relational commitment, while constant restructuring, cost control reform, and rigid performance targets have turned many relationships into transactional exchanges. Do more with less. By 2019 and 2023, vacant nursing positions increased by 40%, and over 30% of general practitioners are near retirement.
Even with Assurance Maladie, employers feel this shift. The continuous digital automation, increasing workload without any emotional reward. The global satisfaction is declining and turnover intention are rising, especially among younger generation. We're losing not just staff, but belief in the mission, and it is what professional right rose. Psychological, they try to restore fairness by giving less to an organization that seems to have stopped giving back.
So how do we rebuild motivation and trust?
So we need to do it transparently and humanly. It passes by acknowledgement that was lost, meaning autonomy and fairness, by rebuilding dialogue, letting people participate in decisions that affect their work, and by visible recognition mechanisms that match the intensity of their contribution.
Today, the population is getting older, thus the standard demand for healthcare is also increasing. We cannot allow ourselves to let the situation pertain. In my opinion, the fastest way will be to expand access to medical and nursing education. Today, becoming a French doctor means a very intense competition. Each year, thousands of capable students are turned away because the number of available training spots is limited.
So while France's motivation is decreasing, the opportunities for the few remaining passionates are restricted.
Precisely. Italy faced the same issue a few years ago. For years, the healthcare system was same as ours, creating a barrier. In recent reform, Italy opened the gates, removing the rigid competitive entry model to raise the number of medical graduates each year. More doctors and specialists are thus entering the workforce, reducing pressure on hospitals. France could follow a similar path, aligning education capacity with healthcare demand, not with outdated administrative quotas.
Their words echo a simple truth. Reforming healthcare isn't just about system, it's about people. Renewing the psychological contract goes beyond restoring trust. It means redefining fairness, ensuring that those who care for others are, at last, cared for in return.
Dottoressa, vi prego, sono 10 ore che sto in fila. Sto morendo.
Signore, la prego, ritorni in fila, ci sono un sacco di altri pazienti malati. Ci
Ancora,
dispiace.
mannaggia.
Every day in the Italian public health system feels like a marathon through paperwork. Simple actions like booking a visit or approving a medical purchase go through countless steps, from the hospital office to the regional department to the ministry, before anything actually happens. The Italian national health system is characterized by a highly complex and multi-layered structure. Responsibilities are distributed among the national government and the 21 regional administration and the local health authorities. Although this decentralized model was introduced to guarantee equity and adapt healthcare systems to regional needs, it has progressively generated excessive bureaucracy and slow decision-making. The main issues lies in the fragmentation of responsibilities and the strong hierarchical coordination mechanisms. Everyday administrative level has its own procedures, approval process, and managerial chains, which often overlap and delay operational efficiency. This system creates rigidity and limited autonomy for local healthcare units, reducing their ability to respond quickly to emerging needs. The strong formalization of procedures and the centralization of decision-making process lead to long waiting lines, duplicated tasks, and difficulties in communication across the departments. Overall, the organizational structure of the Italian healthcare system shows how an excessive number of hierarchical layers and formal procedures can negatively affect effectiveness, innovation, and the overall quality of healthcare system.
Exactly, you can really see how too much formalization and centralization slow everything down. Every decision from hiring staff to buy medical equipment must go through several approvals, each at a different level. The more layers there are, the weaker and slower the communication becomes. Hospitals, which face emergencies and daily challenges, often need to wait for regional and even national confirmation before acting. This creates frustration among healthcare workers who know what needs to be done but don't have the authority to do it, and frustrations also between patients who expected a long waiting time and consistent service depending on what they live. If we imagine the system has a pyramid, information travels up and down constantly, but rarely sideways. Teams that showed cooperate often work in isolation, following procedures rather than solving problems together. A more flexible and integrated structure could really change things. Fewer hierarchical levels, more autonomy for local units, and better digital coordination between institutions. That will make the system faster, cleaner, and more responsive, not only for the managers, but for the people who rely on every day. So that's all from Italy. Let's go back to ESCP News.
Now, welcome back to ESCP News Center. I hope you enjoyed these 3 interviews and the point of view they gave you. See you next time.